We realized that the business we were running, that we wanted to create more time freedom and to help more people, was actually just causing us more stress. And we created a prison for ourselves rather than creating that flexibility and freedom that we wanted from the get-go.
All right, Eilish, first and foremost, I want to welcome you to the show, which the working title is The Social Audit Marketing for Coaches. I'm very excited to have you here. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm very excited to be a part of what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And I've said it before and I'm going to say it again for anyone watching. Just look at her. She's so beautiful. I'm so happy she wanted to be here with me today and she's so successful. And I am looking forward to this. So we are going to dig into your business, your ideal client, and some of your hard lessons you've learned along the way. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me. Let's dive right into it.
Excellent. So first and foremost, what's your business? Who do you help?
Awesome. So over the past 7 months, I've made a bit of a pivot with the business. So for the past kind of 5 years, we've been running a high ticket offer, helping busy women in the online weight loss and fitness space. And recently I have switched over to helping healthcare professionals get toned, lose 5 to 10 kilos, and really just prioritize their health and wellness. So we've switched out from a high ticket model to a subscription based model. And it's going really well. I think it's been a very necessary shift, but that's who I am and how I help people right now.
I love that. So if we could just get a little clarity when you say high ticket versus subscription, what does that look like?
Totally. So high ticket is more selling a package, and that's anywhere from kind of 2 months, 3 months plus. And high ticket offers are generally placed higher in terms of investment. So high ticket could be anywhere from kind of $2,000 to $4,000 for an entire package versus the subscription model, which is thinking of it like Netflix. You sign up, you pay a weekly subscription fee, and it's ongoing until you cancel.
Got it. But you get a lot more with you than you do with Netflix, I think.
I'd hope
They
so.
both have their place, though.
They do.
They both have their place, I will say. Very cool. Okay, so how long have you been at this? I think you said 7 years, but correct me if I'm wrong.
So it's been 5 years since my husband and I first started our original business, which was Alexander the Great Coaching. We started that off the back of COVID. So we've been in the game for a good amount of time now. I think 5 years in my mind seems like such a long time, but when you're in business, it really is just the tip of the iceberg, as so many people keep saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blip, I think. And you say, so 5 years in, I'm very curious what prompted that kind of switch.
I think for us, we hit a bit of a glass ceiling in terms of we'd been really grinding. Ryan in particular got to the point of stress, overwhelm, burnout. And as we know, right, when something internally isn't feeling quite right or aligned, it's really just that input that something has to change. And we tried multiple different directions. We tried to push through, but it was at the point where he didn't want to be a part of the business anymore. And we knew that we needed to make a little bit of a switch. We were burnt out, working really big hours. It was a lot of, I think, financial pressure as well to perform. And we realized that the business we were running, that we wanted to create more time freedom and to help more people, was actually just causing us more stress. And we created a prison for ourselves rather than creating that flexibility and freedom that we wanted from the get-go. So that prompted us to reassess and reevaluate, what do we really want to do? Who do we really want to help? What do we want our lives to look like? Because being stressed every single day for the rest of our lives is definitely not what we wanted to create.
No way, that is not it.
Not it.
And I absolutely, that really, for anyone who is newer to this world or working through the same type of issue, I think that really paints a picture for the high ticket versus subscription model, because the subscription model is all MRR, right? That monthly recurring revenue. And the high ticket, it's like once you have a 10K month, it feels phenomenal. But the next month you're back at ground zero and you have to hit that every single month. And it can be so taxing emotionally, mentally, physically, even those hours that you need to put in. So I would imagine that is where that idea came from.
100%.
Yes, been there. So I will say that I obviously have known you and Ryan since the Alexander the Great coaching days. Oh my gosh. Can you believe that was, what year is it? 2025? That was 3 years ago now. We've been
Yeah.
connected, I think. So it has been interesting. And I will say, from a consumer standpoint, I have watched your content change and grow, right? So, what do you think has evolved within your marketing strategies and your content strategies from then to now, outside of the business model shift? How has that changed for you, and in terms of how you view it to actually acquire clients?
100%. The key changes for us is number one, especially over the past 7 months, or maybe just viewing it from the past 5 years in general, it's a lot of trial and error. Posting content, seeing what hits, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, constantly trying to upskill in this never ending pool of amazing content that's always in your face, keeping up with consumer needs of attention spans are shorter, hooks need to be better, it needs to be hyper specific, it needs to speak to pain points. There's a lot to digest, I suppose. But over the past 7 months, the biggest change for the organic content that we've been putting out is hyper specific and niching down. This is really dependent per person when it comes to content, but a lot of people who want to just speak to the masses, like busy women, that could be whoever, right? That can be
Anyone.
busy, yeah, anyone, busy moms, office workers, whatever that is, versus what I'm focusing on right now, healthcare professionals, so people who have a very unique set of challenges, and creating content around those specific pain points, coming up with a lot of value-driven content to serve that particular community. That's helped a lot in terms of my specificity when it comes to content and putting out things that I know are going to help and serve a specific amount of people, versus I really struggled with when I was just focusing on helping busy women with my content, really broad and non-specific, and just getting drowned out because there's so much other content going on in the health and fitness space, if that makes any sense.
So much. Oh my gosh, it's such a humongous industry. So, absolutely, that makes sense to me. And I want to go back a little bit, because everything that you mentioned in the beginning, keeping up with XYZ and hooks and trends and trying to stand out and all of that stuff, can definitely add to the stress level of the grind, of the hustle, however we want to approach that. Just to rewind a little, you've made that switch in your business model. You're moving forward with ideally less stress. But as a fitness professional and someone who has an overall grasp of your well-being and your health, how do you manage your stress as a business owner when it comes to wearing all the hats and doing all the things?
Definitely. I think for me, and this is going to be very different for everyone, it's filling my cup first. I'm definitely not afraid to be selfish. And I think as women in particular in business, we tend to want to be selfless, and we want to put everybody else and everything else before ourselves. But as Ryan and I have learned from experience, because we've put ourselves last when it comes to the business, and we've tried to put the business first, and what ended up happening was we ended up burnt out, stressed out, just in not a good place mentally. So for us personally, or for me personally, Ryan has his own set of values and whatnot. But for me, if I'm fueling myself properly and I'm focusing on my nutrition, if I'm ensuring that I'm getting bare minimum of workouts in a week to move my body, if I'm going for just a short walk every day, as I've got those fundamentals in place, I can show up as a good leader and an inspiring coach. Because how can I help? And this is the issue with a lot of healthcare professionals as well that I'm helping, is how can we show up to help other people in the best capacity that we can if we're constantly putting ourselves last?
Right. I definitely resonate with that as a woman and a mom and a wife and a business owner. Oh my gosh. And you mentioned that to lead properly also. So do you have a team?
This was, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that we made early on in business. And this will be interesting. And again, everybody's so different, but this is just my experience in business. We did what I like to call a Benjamin Button on business. So we did everything backwards. And I'll explain a bit more about
Oh,
what that means. So we made some really big moves initially that we weren't actually at the level we needed to make them yet. So for example, we were getting messengers and help with sales calls and assistant coaches, but we weren't even at the
Mm,
level yet that we needed to do that. And sometimes that can be a good thing, right? Making preemptive moves.
mhm.
For us, it had the opposite effect. All of a sudden, we were generating a lot of revenue, but we were getting paid bugger all because all of the additional revenue was going to a team versus what now in retrospect we should have done, which was keep things in house for as long as possible until we consistently reach the level in which we could justify taking that next step. So that backfired, and that was one of the biggest mistakes that we made initially in business. Now, with the subscription model, I am wearing all the hats, but it's all in house until I get to the level that I now need an assistant coach. That would be my next natural step until I'm at the point that I now
Right.
need messengers in place. For me, I would prefer to keep things in house. The one mistake that we made by taking those steps was we weren't like making like personal income or like profitable. We were focusing on scaling revenue instead of looking at how profitable are we? How much personal income are we actually making? So
Right.
now we've got all the personal income, the expenses are really low, we don't have a team to manage. And that for now is working really well until I can justify taking that next step.
Yeah, lean and mean.
Yeah.
I picture just like a single like boulder just rolling down a hill. But when you're in business, you're like rolling uphill, right?
Yeah.
Trying to roll uphill, but just doing absolutely everything you can until you just can't anymore. And I think experience is probably not uncommon. It's, how should I say this? I think a lot of people get on YouTube or Instagram and they take this advice from successful people, you know, how I went from 30K a month to 50K a month, but you're not even making 5K a month. Like that advice is not for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they fall into this trap. It's definitely a trap of like, oh, I need to hire an assistant and a messenger, and I need to create funnels, and I need ad spend, and I need XYZ. It's that cage that you mentioned earlier, building a cage, building a prison, because now you're just like scaling for more revenue for what? To work harder for less? You could go get a job somewhere at that point.
100%. But yeah, that was a really interesting sort of journey for us. And that's the thing. I think that's one question we didn't really ask ourselves was what do we want our day to look like? Do we want to be spending hours every day on sales
So
calls?
important.
Do we want to be spending hours every day running ads, messaging back and forth? So I think the number one question, if I could go back and do it again, I would ask myself, well, what do I want my days to look like? What tasks am I actually
Mhm.
okay doing? And then reverse engineer it from there. Because like you said, a lot of people end up in the trap of, oh, great. Yeah, 50K months or 100K months. That sounds amazing. Do I want to be working 60-hour weeks? Do I want to do that grind? Is that really the direction that I want to go?
Yeah. And so are you doing messaging and sales calls and things of that nature right now? Or is it a landing page? How are you actually getting these people in the door?
So it's a mixture right now. So currently I'm optimizing organic as best I can with lead magnets and a nurture sequence, which always is good. Collecting those emails so they're in that sequence, which then eventually either leads to a consult call. So it's really like a mini sales call, but it's not a sales call. It's really just figuring out, can I help this person? This is how the process works. It's not as salesy as we have been in the past, right? With the really big, long sales call. Like there's a difference between when you're selling a high ticket $3,000 package compared to when you're selling like, hey, it's a minimum 12 weeks, but it's like $60 to $90 a week on a recurring subscription. So it's a lot more soft. It
Mm.
feels a lot easier to me. Apart from that, just running a pretty consistent paid ads as well, which just bring people into a conversation because conversations always lead to clients. So having a conversation in the
Right.
DMs, jumping on a consult call, chatting through some things, and then from there, either converting or going, hey, it's not for me. And that's totally fine too, just keeping them in there for the future as well, sending them away with a few resources. So that's where I'm at client acquisition wise. And I feel a lot more comfortable with this approach. It feels a lot more aligned with the way I want to run business.
That's what I was going to ask. Gosh, people don't realize how important it is, not just the process, but the price of your offer, how you're coaching these people, how they move through your funnel, the emails that you send, like if any of that of alignment, your clients, like your ideal clients, your leads, like they can feel that, and they're going to be, their animal instincts are going to be so weary to buy from you because they're going to be like, something's off here. And so I actually love to hear that. I think it is so important. I went through that myself too. When I first got in the high ticket world, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this and I could charge this and I can do XYZ. And I started doing it and I was like, oh, I just sent that like quote over and I don't like it. And it just adds to the stress of business ownership, right? So we talked about, Eilish, like the mistake you made, the Benjamin button, which I love. I love that. Oh my gosh. I promise if I ever use, I'll copyright Eilish Black.
Totally.
I love it. I also just I'm like, we have the same last name and I always forget when I see it come up. We talked about the Benjamin button not being your biggest mistake. We talked about you switching to the subscription model and it's a lot better. But if there's one other thing that you can share from this journey that was like so eye-opening, like the best thing you could have done as a business owner, as a coach, what would that be?
Oh my goodness. Take a second to think about that. Such a great question.
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway for me personally is focus on profit first. So what I mean by that is profit first. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. It's because it's so great. I think it's very like addicting and it's very exciting when you first get into the online space and you're hitting all these big numbers and it's like, oh my God, like 40K months is possible. Oh my gosh, we're doing this. This is great. We're getting all this revenue in. But on the other end, not really focusing on how profitable you are as a business. I think sometimes that can be really overlooked because you're so laser focused on the revenue and outsourcing all of these tasks when you're not necessarily actually generating enough profit to justify that. So I think focus on profit first, because at the end of the day, although money isn't everything, I think a lot of people have a strange perception or a strange relationship with money. They think, oh, well, money's not everything. Money allows you to live the lifestyle that you want to live, right? The more money or the more income you have, the more profitable you are, the more ease you have in your life, the more you can live in line with your values, the better you can show up and lead and operate your business. Because from experience, when you are like, when your back's against the wall and all of these numbers are going out your bank account and you're trying to hit these KPIs and your sales targets every single month, you show up as the scarcity version of yourself. You don't know where the business is going to be in a month's time or where your next sales is coming from. It's focus on
and it's terrifying.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like it's not talked about enough.
No, my gosh. Like how many business decisions are made out of like fight or flight, right? Like, oh my gosh. I love that. And it's so true. And you already said it perfectly. It's so easy to get overwhelmed with how possible the growth is. Going back to earlier, you stop and say, well, I can do this in this way, but should I do this?
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, would you mind sharing with us what your business does bring in monthly on average?
Awesome. So for me, currently, I'm sitting around 10K MRR, and my plan is to scale that to 20K over the course of the next 4 to 6 months. So I've got that plan in place. I'm working towards that really consistently right now. I know for some people watching, that's like, oh my gosh, that is so much. And then for other people, that's, wow, that's very minimal. But again, coming back to those profit margins, I'm much more profitable now doing 10K MRR Aussie a month compared to when we were running a high ticket program at like 40K per month because of how much we were actually spending on things that we didn't need.
Yeah, totally. Since we are talking a little bit about money, we talked about Profit First, you know the book. Are you a big reader?
Yes. Yeah, when I can, 100%. It's more audiobooks these days because I don't get the chance to sit down and read, but yes. Are you?
Yeah, I am actually. I listen to like the development in the business books and I like to read fiction.
Love it.
So it's two different. I cover both facets. But have you read any books that have changed your perception of money? Like you would recommend?
100% when it comes to Profit First, that was one that Ryan had actually mentioned to me. And that was one that we really followed. That made a lot of sense and that changed the game. when it came to
Profit
business.
first is great because it has such tangible steps. You know, it's like, do this. And anyone who's out there running your business to zero, like, oh my gosh, please don't do that. I think that's the lesson we've learned, but it tells you exactly how to pay yourself first.
Yeah,
And it's really important, I think, to business owners, especially if you've never managed finances in that way before. So,
100%. Yeah, and managing
yes,
finances is
yes.
everything. If you do not know where your money is going, if you're not allocating for tax, if you're not aware of all of the expenses you have on a monthly basis, you're going to be screwed.
Yes, no, bad business owner over here. I realized after 18 months, yeah, it was about a year and a half, that I was paying for 2 Adobe subscriptions monthly and 2, oh my gosh, what was the other one? It was like 2 Loom subscriptions. It's like an extra $15 a month for one, an extra 25 for the other, but it's like over a year and a half. Oh my gosh, like a few couple $100 at least for nothing.
That's the
And it,
power of the
trust
subscription
me,
model.
really though, really, oh my gosh, but it's like, gosh, make a spreadsheet, write it on a notepad. Like, I don't care what you guys do, but track it. And that's my weak spot. So I can attest that you need to do it.
Love it.
But truly, the money mindset, I think it's the most important shift, one of the most important shifts you need to make early on in business. Because if you're still stuck with that, like scarcity mindset, like, I don't know, money feels gross or
Yeah.
bad, how can you sell something? I've just noticed that in general with some people, it's like if money is bad, you can't sell anything. You need to be open to that, like abundance, and understand your worth and price and your alignment and all of these things. Changing your mindset around money, I just think is so important because now we're not like wealthy living in a $1 million mansion on the beach, or God, well, these days it's probably like a $5 million if you want to be on the beach. But at the end of the day, if something costs $250, I'm like, that's a good deal. And finding ways to make that shift within your life is so different than someone hearing $250 and being like, oh my God, that's so exuberant. Like, I can't do that. Like, you will struggle in business if you don't start to fix that mindset, in my experience.
100%. I
So,
agree.
have you always charged the same in your subscription model that you're doing now?
So the current subscription model that we have has stayed the same. What will happen from
Okay.
here is once I have hit my essentially concrete block, so once I've built to
Mhm.
the maximum amount of clients that I can handle myself and I'm oversubscribed, that's where I'll make that first push. So right now
Mhm.
it's pretty comfortable in terms of like where the pricing is positioned. It's relatively affordable,
Okay.
particularly for my niche who are really open to investing in their health. They do see the value in it, and that's a very important thing too. Make sure that you're in a market where people have disposable income, or that your product or service is positioned based on your particular market as well. So once I've hit that concrete block, that is where I will then reassess prices and move them up as things become more exclusive. So that way my time just is compensated for a little bit more as well once I've hit that concrete block.
Totally. So, what changes are you going to make, do you think? And not just marketing, but whether it's mindset, your life, business, what type of changes do you think that you are going to need to shift in the next 4 to 6 months to go from that 10K to 20K?
100% mindset wise, I'm already there because I've done it before, right? Like we've been there, we have generated that. So for me, it's comfortable. I've been there, I have worked through the money mindset around that as well. So 20K months to me, it feels like easy and effortless. That's something that I can manage very easily. So that takes a lot of like a work, a lot of mindfulness as well. I know some people will think that again on both ends of the spectrum of, oh my gosh, that is just way too much. That's not possible. And other people go, oh, that's just a drop in the ocean. That's 100% achievable. And it is when you think about it, there is a lot of money out there. If some dude in Melbourne can get his $10 million supercar lifted up to his like $20 million apartment and put in there as like an ornament, people asking for 10, 20K months, like that is so incredibly achievable. So that's the one shift I'm making mindset wise is just really knowing my value, my worth, and knowing that what I provide as a service is actually helping people and benefiting
Mm-hmm.
people. So I feel comfortable there. Business wise, I'll be diversifying income streams. So currently I have the one income stream of it is the one-on-one coaching. I will diversify that by building out a funnel and a low ticket offer, which will be a guide essentially. So an 8 to 12 week guide that people can download, again, niche specific. From there, the next step would be building out essentially an evergreen funnel. So looking at doing a course or a community that people again can pay a monthly subscription to be a part of. So just knowing that, cool, I want to keep things as lean as possible. I want to keep it in-house. That's just the way that I want to do things. Build it to about 14 to 15 MRR on my one-on-one services. From there, building out a funnel to bring in an extra 7 to 8K MRR on a low ticket offer. Then from there, the next step is building out an evergreen course. So that's my goal for the next 12 months, which I'm really feeling very clear on.
Yes, I can see that. And I absolutely love that. And like, don't underestimate, guys, the power of planning. The power of planning. If you can't visualize it and plan it out, speak as clearly as she just did, like there's no hope for you. I don't want to be harsh, but sometimes I can be, but truly, like, it's not going to happen on accident. Like, there's a quote I saw recently and it said, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And it's so true. So just to speak to your offer, you said knowing your worth, how you charge, how you know your worth, how you know you can help people. Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome as a coach?
Yeah, it's a daily occurrence. And
so matter of fact, yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's no point denying it. And I think it's like, again, it's so tough because one thing that I love from Alex Hormozy, who I really look up to, him and Layla in business, and one of their key things is outwork your self-doubt. And the only way to overcome imposter syndrome is to outwork your self-doubt. Keep showing up, proving to yourself that you can do the things that you say you're going to do, building a stack of undeniable evidence that you are the person that you claim to be. And I think it's really tough as well in the fitness space because, for example, like if there's personal things going on or if my health has to fall on the back burner for a couple of weeks, that imposter syndrome like ramps up, because if I can't show up for myself, how am I supposed to show up as an inspiring person? And especially in the fitness space as well, the like body is your business card kind of thing. If I'm not ultra lean year round, then people aren't going to look at me as an authority. So there is that underlying pressure as well to be leaner. And it's quite difficult as well when you do have personal things come into play where you can't quite be as on top of your nutrition or you can't constantly be on top of your fitness. And I think that mindset starts to spiral too. But it's an ever-evolving thing, and I think it takes constant work. I'm not sure if it's something that ever truly goes away, but it can definitely be quieter, if that makes any sense. So that voice can be a little bit softer.
Yeah, and I think there's probably a little bit of good to it for us entrepreneurs because it forces us to push a little harder. Yeah, we can't help but want to prove it wrong sometimes. But I honestly, just from a personal point of view, I'm not a fitness professional. I help you guys market, not you in particular, but a lot of fitness professionals market themselves. And I will say from that point of view, I think it makes you a better coach because you are more relatable at that point. You understand the struggles. You're not going to show up and say, well, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. You didn't get your steps in this week. There's no excuses, the bro marketing kind of stuff. And so I think that it's more relatable. And I think that it actually does more to help your imposter syndrome than it does to contribute to it. And from an outsider perspective.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You don't have kids. But I have 2 kids, and if I see one more like fitness coach or business coach, I don't care who they are, and they're like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, like I'm gonna lose it.
I would not blame you.
I think, oh my gosh, I'm like, do we all have the same 24 hours in a day though?
No.
No. And so from that point, I think if we can take these instances that make us feel like imposters and figure out a way to utilize them to become stronger and more well-rounded for our clients, I think that can be a really powerful thing.
That's gold. I love that perspective.
Me. Thank you. Okay, very cool. So I have one more question for you before we kind of dive into the strategy and the analytics and stuff like that.
Exciting.
If you could tell your ideal client, let's say you're in a room, every single person in that room can afford you, they love you, they have the money to buy from you, but they need to hear one thing before they take my wallet. What is that one thing you think they need to hear?
That's a great question too.
And if you
From
want
the
to come back to
perspective
it,
of
we
like
can.
getting them across the line from potential paying client to paying client.
Yeah. So it might not even be a pain point. It might just be something that they need to hear. They're there. They have their card microphone right here. They're like this. And I go to hand it to you. Every single one of them. There's like 100 of them in there. And they're like, here, oh, one more thing. What is that? What do they need to hear from you?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I think that really varies like per person. I think it's maybe an overused statement, but just acknowledging that it is about progress and not perfection. And that's
Mhm.
all we're striving for at the end of the day. I think what's really paralyzing for a lot of my healthcare clients is that all or nothing mindset of if I don't get everything perfect, if things are messy, then it's just not worth doing. But messy
Mhm.
action is better than inaction any day of the week. Because if you just sit where you are and expect things to change, it's just never going to happen. So take messy action. And that's all we're going to do is just take, especially being a healthcare worker where their shifts are constantly changing and there's all these demands and they're just all out of whack because they've come off of back to back nights. Just take messy action with me. Let's just take some messy action,
Mhm.
one foot in front of the other, and that's going to get you eventually to where you want to be.
I love that. Messy action. There were a lot
Messy
of
action.
nuggets in this conversation today.
That's good.
Because truly, though, it's one foot in front of the other. Let's go. If you walk 100 extra steps this week, that's progress. And
100%.
it reminds me of another quote. I see a lot of memes and I see a lot of quotes. It's the nature of the business. But if you only had 60% to give today and you gave 60%, you gave 100%, right? And so I think personally, if I was your strategist, I would say that type of message is very in line with your women.
Awesome. Amazing.
Okay, now let's pivot here. I'm actually going to pull up your content. Are you excited?
Woohoo. I'm nervous. I do
Don't
love
be
creating
nervous.
content, but it's one of those things again where it's just that huge imposter syndrome of, oh my God, am I posting the right things? Am I using the right hashtags? Is my strategy there? Is this hitting home for people? And then there's inevitably one post that gets 200 views, and you're like, I failed.
Oh, and it's the worst, right? It's that kind of messy action that you were just talking about. And I think that one thing that people need to do, and now I'm not saying you do this, but most people I talk to do, is they're called vanity metrics in the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get likes. I didn't get all these views, all these impressions, all these XYZ. I'll do a coaching call, and inevitably, almost every week, somebody will get on and be like, well, I made this video with this trending sound about my boyfriend's POV when he gets into my car, and it did so well. Like, can I keep posting content like that? And I'm like, did you get any leads from it? No. Okay, well then what the heck do you care about those 400 likes? Like, not a single person is going to buy anything from you. And so really taking that mindset shift, I also talk a lot about mindset today, but really taking that mindset shift from, is this speaking to my ideal client? Is this going to get them over the line? Is this in line with my messaging and my brand and how I want to be perceived? Because I will tell you what, I will take 10 views with one qualified like that gets on a call with me
Yep.
over combing through 200 likes to send a cold DM to someone who's never interacted with me before.
That
You
is
know?
awesome. I love that way of
So,
thinking.
yes, once we stop looking at wanting to feel good, because it's an ego thing and it's in
100%.
subconscious. Once we stop looking at that, things get better. So, this is what you sent me. We had some issues getting the CSV files, so this is what I had to go on, which is totally fine because this tells me exactly what I need to know. Over the last 90 days on your Instagram, which is here. Okay, so here are the stats you sent me, and I see over the last 90 days on your Instagram here, Elevate Online Coaching _ that we went up in views, which is great, up in reach, and up in content interactions. But me, an organic social media strategist, what did I see? I saw
Yeah.
this. Ooh. Right here, that nice down from organic.
From organic.
Yes, it's still pretty high. 66% of these views are from organic, which is great. And I went and looked at your top content over the last 90 days, and I saw a lot of opportunity for lead gen that was not taken. So forgive me, I can be a little blunt.
Blunt is good.
But But what I'm hoping is that I made a 30-day strategy for you, and I would really just love to elevate what you're already doing. Oh, which is funny because you're Elevate online coaching. But I
Love
want
it.
to elevate what you're already doing. I think your content is great. I think with these certain tweaks over the next 30 days that we will see a difference. And like I said earlier, I'd love to have you on for a follow-up possibly in the next month or so if
That
you're
sounds
down
great.
for it, and we can talk about how it
100%.
performed.
Yeah, let's implement
Yay!
and catch up again.
Yes, anytime, anytime. Okay, so I want to look at your strategy. So here's a snapshot of your performance that I put together based on what you sent me and based on what I saw on the platform itself. So this is from the screenshot. That's not new. What do these mean though? Like most people are going to be like, it's up, great. But what does it actually mean? It means that we're increasing in viewership a lot due to ad spend, and your organic engagement is starting to fall off, which we don't want to see, especially if you're putting money in ads. I like to see these things work together. And over the last, I don't think I mentioned this, and I'm not even sure if I've been doing this for 11 years next month, which is really exciting.
Wow.
But the reason I focus on organic is because ad spend can help increase organic. But if your ad spend is coming up and your organic's coming down, that kind of says to me that you're starting to rely on one over the other. And that's a trap because once you stop paying to play, all you have left is organic. So business owners, if you guys hit a month where you're like, gosh, my ad spend, I just can't. That's why I put $14,000 in last month and all I have this month is like 3. Like you're effed. So we want to make sure that these are staying fairly consistent. Your content's resonating, but it's not driving any deeper interactions or conversions. And I can tell you that because I looked at it. It's great. It's visually appealing. You definitely know how to put it together. I see you working on some new, more viral type hooks as well. But do you know, Eilish, I'm going to ask you, do you know what I noticed is most lacking in your content? And it's one thing across almost every single post that's missing.
Is it like
Any
within the
guesses?
content itself or within is it just the engagement side of things? Like nobody's interacting with it?
The engagement side, and I'm going to say that also leads to the conversion side, the lead generation side.
Yeah.
You are missing call to actions on some of these posts. There are such great opportunities. And you do have some. I'm not going to be too hard on you. You do have some, but I think you're missing out here. I do.
I think the big thing I struggle with CTAs is like sometimes I feel if I overwhelm people with CTAs, they're gonna like not engage at all. But I definitely agree. I definitely need to incorporate them more.
That limiting belief around it is, I understand if you're like, comment, right? Message, DM me, DM me, DM me. But we can absolutely incorporate call to actions that resonate with your audience because the content makes them want to engage. They just don't know how, which sounds silly. It's easy to like something, right? Or comment. But sometimes they see something, they save it, they move on. These recipes, I'm telling you right now, I would save every single one of these and I would never look at them again. But they look amazing. And this is where I think we see the biggest room for improvement. So to look at your top content from the past 90 days, we have your chia pudding, which I just saw. It looks so good.
So tasty.
It's down here. 48 likes on this. Not a single comment. You said you're messaging people. Do you happen to recall if you got any good leads from this?
No. Surprisingly.
Okay. Did you message all of these people?
No.
That's okay. That's okay. Because my goal here is not to force you to spend hours in your inbox, which you wanted to get away from. My goal is to invite qualified leads to talk with you, to have that pre-discussion before that call. And I'm sure you could find 3 to 5 decent leads in here for yourself. I would rather them land in your inbox. So we're going to talk about messaging call to actions today.
Awesome.
But see, I see you have one here. No comments, though. No comments. Now, I want to say 2 things I've noticed in the fitness industry, and this is my personal opinion. Sometimes people are embarrassed. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they wouldn't want to comment because they're like, well, I don't want my friends to see that I want to lose weight, or I don't know, they get embarrassed.
It can be taboo.
Yeah, so I feel like with a comment call to action, it could behoove you to make it really easy. Like these recipe ones, oh my gosh. this is gold. It's so easy for someone to comment recipe, which I've seen that you've done on one or two, but I think every single food reel needs to have this. So let's break this down. And then going over just some of your others before we do, you had your, I think it was a skit, your question, your calorie tracking, and your chocolate chia pudding. People love food.
Yeah. Recipes
People
are
love
always
food.
such high performers.
Yes, but if they're not getting leads, what's the point? Let's figure out how to take your best performing content and get leads. Your visual and food content is the most consistently performing. That's not a surprise. Your relatable scenarios, you're getting decent views, like your soft and fluffy. These are the things that make you human. So I would definitely continue to do these things. And again, call to actions that invite comments do show potential, but we're going to make it better. So I think that we need more engagement follow through. And this ties in with the top performing posts being linked to lead magnets and stronger CTAs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, can I say something?
Please.
This is, I don't want to say it. It's going to sound so mean.
No, just don't do it. Do it.
Okay. If I go here, right, we talked about you niching down fat loss for healthcare professionals. Wonderful.
Yes.
I help healthcare professionals. Wonderful. If I go here, where are you talking to healthcare professionals?
Healthcare pros and healthcare clients. It's a difficult one because about 70% of the content that I do is very hyper specific to healthcare workers. So mainly all of the talking heads are, if you're a healthcare professional, like this is why your weight loss is stalling, talking head. Those two talking heads are healthcare specific, but some of them, about 30%, are issues that healthcare professionals deal with that are normal issues too, if that makes sense. So it's a bit of a blend of all of them.
I think it could be very helpful for you to call them out more, like in your cover photos, especially.
Okay.
Because you have to imagine if somebody sees a reel and they're like, oh, and they go here. Okay, can you go, computer? There we go. And let's say they go here and they scroll. Yeah, they didn't even see this. You know what I mean? I think it's very important right now with the short attention spans to have it literally everywhere. It's here. We need a highlight. Healthcare professionals do this after a long shift. Healthcare professionals, I cracked the code. Healthcare, like just those call outs, constant call outs. I think that that could make a big difference in your retention on how long people stay on your page. So that's the big one. And that's that overarching, I don't know, but you get it, narrative and the brand position.
Perfect.
So how do you feel so far?
Yeah, good. I think it's good. Like at the end of the day, like I think like not sugarcoating things is important, because I think in today's day and age, it's like, oh, you could maybe do this, or oh, maybe you could do it. It's like, honestly, like these are the things that aren't working. Because like as business owners too, like we value each other's time. It's like, this isn't working. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. You need to be doing this. Just tell me. It's good. Like this is definitely what I need. So don't be afraid to just like lay it on, because it's good for me to like have that and go, perfect. This is what I need to change to get better, because that's all I want.
Good. Okay. I'm a recovering people pleaser, so it's not it's hard for me. So I'm like, I just gotta say
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Thank you. Okay, excellent. Honestly, like I said, visually looks good. The content subject matter is good. I see you're doing some work with your hooks, which is good. But I want to increase your lead flow. I don't care about your views. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care about them. We've already been over that.
I just want leads.
Here's what I want you to do. And these are ideas that I laid out on a weekly basis so that you can follow them pretty consistently. Do you have the opportunity to do 7 posts a week? I can't remember.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There's no reason that I could not be doing 7 posts.
Yes. And if you skip any of them, I'd probably skip this, because you do show up in your stories a lot. So that's really important, though. Keep doing that, but we're going to add things into the stories too. So I hope you're ready.
Perfect. Yes.
I did kind of lay this out just to provide a bit more clarity. Now, I want to be clear, this is 30 days. So day 31 plus probably won't look like this. But this is to start to expand your content mediums and your content types and the way that you approach the lead generation aspect of content. After 30 days, what we would ideally do is look at this and then strategize out the following month based on the results of this month. because I don't want to say spaghetti at the wall because it is still tailored, but it is like, we're going to do this and this because they perform well. We're going to try it in these 3 different mediums, and whatever performs best, we're going to double down on next month. So
Awesome.
that's how I built this out for you. I think if you could follow this, it would be amazing.
100%.
We're talking here Monday, a coaching insider mindset tip. We're building your credibility. That's the purpose. So I don't want you to take this and be like, I'm lead genning from this. I'm lead genning from this. No, I laid those out for you. Lead gen, you'll know. And then a relatable POV, skit, meme, anything that is shareable. Because this can broaden your reach and reach more eyeballs, ideally in your niche, right? So you want to make sure that it is still very directed to who you want to speak with.
Awesome.
And then I know we're slotted till 6, Eilish. So it'll probably be about 15 more minutes or so. Is that okay?
Yeah, totally fine.
Cool. Excellent. Okay. So next up, this is our social proof, and this is lead gen specific. So this is a testimonial, a before and after, a storytelling. You can do this in a few different ways because I want to broaden your content type. You do a lot of reels. Yeah. Now I want to be clear. Reels get the best reach. There was a report done. I can't remember who did it. It was like Hootsuite or something wrapped up their 2024 social media report. And reels got the most reach, but carousels got the best engagement. I want you to consider adding in these additional content types. So this could be a reel where you even tell the story, right? Here's how my client Nancy went from this to this in just 12 weeks. And then you talk about the steps that she took to get there. This can be very simple. And I'm sure you have a ton of stories like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
And then same thing with the carousel, right? You can say the 5 steps Nancy took to lose 10 kilos in 12 weeks and have her before and after. And now they can swipe through. Now it's actionable, right? It's easy to implement, but the trick here is that you tell them the what, not the how. That's the trick in marketing, especially social marketing. It's not just, I got to give a ton of value. It's no, I'm going to tell you what you need to do, but I'm not going to tell you how you need to do it because you got to get on the phone with me to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Definitely some more social proof. And then these are your recipes because they do so well. And I'm actually adding this as a lead gen. We're going to update this on the spot. Comment prompt. Okay. So this is what I'm going to recommend. So your recipes. No, that's not it. Oh, I get so excited. I'm so excited for this part. Can you tell? Like I switch over when it's in strategy mode. Okay. So what I would do is a recipe like this, and you could even do this here, but then say for the full recipe, comment below, comment recipe, comment slow cooker chicken. Comment. So again, you're giving them the what, but not the how. I think this is going to be your main theme for the next 30 days. Eilish is the what, not the how.
What?
Here's what you need. If you want the full prep instructions, comment below. And now it's a teaser. They're like, well, I want to make it. And you can test this both ways. You can not give it at all. Or you could say you need chicken breasts, celery, white onion, carrots, ravioli, butter, chicken stock, cream, fresh cream, and self-raising flour. DM me for the full recipe. Awesome. Just tease it.
I like that.
But it's going to start more conversations for you. Oh my gosh, all these people, it's going to start so many more conversations for you. And
amazing.
I think that's part of what's going to help you get your organic stats back up. But more importantly, start moving toward that 20K month that you are wanting to hit. And I think you could honestly, 100%. If you do this, I think you could more than do it in 4 months.
That's amazing. And I think that's a big thing too, is because like I do rely heavily on paid ads and cold conversations as opposed to like organic. I'm doing outreach as well from those followers, but it's always been my goal to optimize organic content as well. And that's awesome feedback to have.
Yes, because if you get one that performs well, you boost it. And boosting posts typically has a larger reach for a lower cost than an ad campaign. So if it does well, you boost it. It has a ton of social proof already because it's already performed. And then you figure out how to emulate it and it just snowballs from there. So yeah, I love that. I love to hear it.
Amazing.
Okay, so Friday, a CTA reel. Now this is a reel specifically saying, talk to me. Talk to me. So this is a freebie, a lead magnet. I believe you said yours are gated. I say gated in the sense that they need their email address, right, to get it. So do you have those landing pages set up?
Yeah, I've
right?
got the landing page
Okay.
for the Fat Loss Kickstart Bible for healthcare professionals set up. That's just in a link in my Instagram bio.
Do you know what? Do you know what you need to do? You need to print something out with the title. Like it needs to look like it.
Yeah.
And you can print all of it out. I don't know how thick it is, but like print it and then add extra paper. Like print it out somewhere and stick some binder clips on it and have it like I need a book. I need a book. I need paper. Okay. Stinking Garbage. Good book, by the way.
Very good
But
book.
let's say this is your printed out fat loss guide. Okay.
Yeah.
This is it. And now you make content here like you need this. And it makes it tangible. It makes it real. And even though they're getting the e-guide, something about it is like dopamine. They're like, well, wait, what does
Yeah.
it say? Like they want to know. And so I think that could be a really cool piece of content for you to have something
Yeah.
tangible to play with on these Fridays and push everyone to that freebie. Everyone.
Okay.
But definitely print something out to play with and make that
Okay.
part of your reel.
That
And
sounds
like
good. I
move
like
around.
that.
I would do.
I like props. Props are good.
Yes. Props are so good, but I would love to see that. But if it feels tangible, they're going to want to sign up to get it.
Love
And
it.
if they're
Okay.
and if they're me, they're going to be like, "Can I get that actual book?" And you're going to be like, "No." But you'll notice this now when you see other ads for guides and stuff that people do that, but I think that could be helpful. And they see value. They see it before they even sign up. They're like, "That's valuable." So they're already like warm to it, and then you've gotten
Awesome.
their information on the landing page. So, yes. Saturday behind the scenes or reflections. So this could be a quote, a B-roll reel with a quote on it. You talking about something that happened recently with a client that made you rethink something, the way that you work with people. I don't know. Anything that is like you focus. This is your human time, right? This is your time to be like, this is who I am. And we're just building that personal connection here. And lastly, is going to be
Amazing.
like a weekly recap. I picture like these cap cut templates that are like ding, 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 right? A bunch of pictures of you from the week or from your clients or things my client said this week and it's all popping up on the screen or something that shows how you're helping other women, but it's coming from them. So being able to tell that story, show that visually, something along those lines will help nurture the audience. And then you can turn that into a lead gen piece as well with a DM call to action because
Awesome.
they might be nervous to comment. But I would say make the call to actions very clear. I saw a couple you had that are like, chat, DM me and we can chat. Very clear.
Yeah.
And your imposter syndrome might kick in here. Most people's imposter syndromes kick in at this point. But you can say, DM me if you're ready to get fit in 3 hours a week. Like very clear. Those are the ideas. And then that's the schedule. And then I did drop you some ideas, but first, do you have any questions or anything you want to go over with what we just talked about on your weekly themes?
No, that's sounding really good. And your idea was just to make it more call out based for healthcare professionals.
Yes.
Cool.
Healthcare professionals, this healthy dinner only took 27 minutes to make.
Yeah. Perfect.
And it's only 450 calories, right? Like very pointed to them and their pain points.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So I think that's going to be important. And then I gave you some ideas here. If you run out, things my coaching clients get that I wish I had known. You talk about your journey a lot. You lost
Like
kilos.
16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah, you talk about your journey a lot. So this is really a great like reflection piece. Things that they get from me that I didn't have when I started. You know?
Yeah.
And it's a good way to sell without selling. We talked about your call to actions, carousels. This is what we went over already, expanding your format. And I will
100%.
tell you the engagement will probably be low to start, but these can be very powerful when it comes to conversions.
Awesome.
And then you're losing a lot of real estate up here. So I think this is fine. Great. I would actually probably update this to be in the new 4x5 format.
Yeah.
So that it looks better. I would put a 2-step up here.
Okay.
One of your recipes or the fat loss e-guide, something along those lines. And then I would put testimonials before and after of some of your clients if you have those. And I would make sure those are all pinned because this is excellent real estate for lead gen.
Perfect. I'm going to note that down too, actually.
Cool. And then you have your engagement routine, I'm sure. But for those of you who will be implementing a strategy yourself, who might not, you want to respond to every comment. I put within the first hour. Like, this just means don't be slow.
Yeah.
Like, we all have lives.
Yeah.
But direct message anyone who comments with the CTA posts. Now, some people are like, they're not a good lead for me. Like, I'm going to ignore them. I think it's really important. I will on mine. If they're like, oh, I want the guide, I'm like, well, you're not a coach or someone who I normally help. So I don't know if it'll be best for you, but here it is.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't take very long. You're using your Instagram stories. This is the additional thing I want to add in for you, Eilish. You're really great on your stories. You really are. But more call to action, polls, stickers, things that invite conversation. Quiz, pop quiz.
Awesome.
You totally put a picture of like a cheeseburger and fries that's macro friendly next to a picture of a giant salad that's not macro friendly and be like, which one is better? And like let them choose, and then DM and say, I saw you pick the salad. I'm a burger girl, whatever. It just invites that conversation. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Totally.
Cool. It looks like that is it. Oh, this was a lot of
Amazing.
information for a 30-day strategy.
That's so good though. I'm very excited to implement everything because I'm very good at implementing. That is one of my strengths. I can be told what to do and do it very well.
Good. I see the pen in your hand and I absolutely love that. Do you have any questions or anything you want to brainstorm?
No.
Or do you want to take it and sit with it for a little while?
Yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah, just digest it all, look at the plan, and then like implement from today. Like more of the CTAs, and I'm getting some filming done this afternoon too, so I can definitely film a lot of content for later in the week as well, which is great. So honestly, like there's just such valuable information to have. So thank you so much for taking the time to put that together for me.
Of course. Thank you. And I will obviously send you that document so you have it with you. And I just want to share one more time, Eilish, if you want to share with everyone where they can find you.
Absolutely. So if you are a healthcare worker and you are burnt out, you're stuck in the all or nothing mindset, and your own personal health has moved down the totem pole because of back to back shifts, you can find me on Instagram at Elevate Online Coaching AU, or you can find me on TikTok as well at Elevate Online Coaching. You can also find my personal profile at Eilish Rose Black, but best way is send me a DM on Instagram, Elevate Online Coaching _. I'd love to have a conversation with you to see if my one-on-one coaching could be the right fit for you.
Excellent. And definitely do it, guys. She knows her stuff.
I do. I
She
do know my stuff.
she does. She knows what she's doing. All right, Eilish. Well, thank you so much again for being a part of the show. The ups and downs. First episode, it was a riot, wasn't it?
That's so good, honestly. Thank you so much for
Oh,
your time. I've loved being a part of this.
yes, likewise. And I just really appreciate you and had a lot of fun with your strategy. So I can't wait to hear how it goes. We will definitely reconnect in like a month, probably end of May. And I want to hear all the updates.
Amazing. Sounds good to me. I'm so excited to implement your plan. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and we will talk soon.
You too. Bye.
Bye.